Hi guys, one more week, one video. This time a discussion video about how disability is portrayed in the Me Before You book. Last week I gave you a review, and from that review you can tell that I'm not happy with the disability image that is shown in it. But today, in this video, I'm going to give you more detailed approach about how I wasn't happy with it and why. So the first thing I need to say is that I'm going to mention very important points of the plot. So if you haven't read it, please skip this video because I don't want to ruin your reading. Maybe I didn't like it, but you will. The first thing to say, as you can probably tell from my previous video, I am a disabled person, user of a wheelchair. So, and until I know a lot about being in a wheelchair and the issues that wheelchair users have. Maybe not to the extent of the character in the book, but again, the topics I want to discuss here are not related only to quadriplegic people, but also for the people who are wheelchair users or disabled at the largest extent. In my case, I have found that the portrayal of disability is not good. To start, we are working, as I said in the previous video, with cliché. So you are showing, or the author is showing, a kind of very, very grumpy, very ungrateful, and very harmful sort of person. That being grumpy and being miserable hurts their parents, well, his parents in this case. And no, not all the people disabled are like grumpy, kind of closed kind of people. I have my friends, I adore my friends. I go out, I have fun, I drink, I do social stuff. But having this kind of stereotypical image of the recluded, kind of disabled person is very, very bad because later the people can think that you need kind of saving, which is for me the worst part of the book. It's like Will needed Lou to save him from the life he was leading at the point the story is developing, not the previous life. And it hurt me very badly, the idea that by contrast, Will was leading or guiding Lou to a more successful life or more fulfilled life when he was neglecting or denying himself the possibility of having that kind of big life he wanted, even if he was in a wheelchair. The idea of, no, I cannot travel or I cannot do XYZ because I'm in a wheelchair is very silly, actually. Considering that he was very rich, you could actually, I don't know, go on a trip and hire the medical equipment you need to do so, and not being miserable about how miserable is my life. I have bad days, I have days in which I really am very, very sad, and I tend to, you know, being very critical or being very harmful to myself and to my disability. That's true. But that's the least of the cases. That's the least of the occasions. It's not about living in a wheelchair and not being able to enjoy. It's about learning how to live in a wheelchair and enjoying life at the same time. My case is not Will's case by any chance. I don't know life without a wheelchair. So I understand that he had to go through this kind of process of realizing that his body wasn't going to behave the same way it did before. But the idea of, I don't remember exactly, but I think there were like 3 or 4 years in which um, has passed before the story begins. So I can understand that he could take like 1 year or a year and a half or 2 years even for kind of being sad or trying to repress this kind of idea of I can live even in a wheelchair. But if I were him, or what I was expecting is that now that he's so like very educated, I was hoping that he, being a young man, did a little bit of research and adapted himself to the situation by adapting the elements he had around him. That is, when the story unfolds, Luisa does a lot of research, which is good because it's always good that you meet a new person and that person tries to do things with you. So they have to research if you could go to, I don't know, whatever place you want to go, if it's adapted or accessible. That's cool. The idea that she is the one that that actually tells him that the computer can be, I don't know, sorted out so he can use his voice or even the eyes. I didn't it didn't click. It's like this kind of idea is not so, it's not so unique anymore. It's more common known, and a lot of people that need it may use it. And even if it's a matter of money, he has enough money to provide himself with this kind of software. So to me, that's kind of a thing that I don't know if it's a matter of research or because of the plot, but the author decided to give Lou the chance to, I will show you how to live throughout this software. It's not the message you want to surely it's not the message I would, as an author, I would love to give. It's more of, I don't need someone to show me how to live. I think it would be great or it have, I don't know, I have this feeling that it wasn't actually coherent. I think that kind of solution, it was more for Will to discover or already have it there. It's not very, realistic. And I have the feeling that doing that is like patronizing Will. It's like you didn't sort it out, so I'm going to give it to you. Like, I'm going to allow you to have more independence. And it's like, no, Will was independent before, and you don't need to show an able-bodied person figuring out things for the other one, or non, like, or doing so, but without his consent. And here goes the next element I wanted to say. I feel that the author did an awful job showing that the parents of Will were plotting with Lou the idea of going out and doing things. I understand that they did so because he was thinking about the Dignitas stuff, but it's not. I mean, he's a grown up. I may not like the decision of killing himself, but it's this kind of, he can make choices. He wasn't a child before the accident, so by discussing things with Lou behind his back, is more of a making him feel like a child or making him a symbolic child of this kind of like dynamic. I can understand to a certain extent that that kind of a situation it was needed, so Lou could be critical about it and at some point saying to Will's mom, like, okay, this is bad. Your son is actually a grown up person, so he is the one that is taking the choices. But I find it very very damaging, the idea of patronizing uh, someone else and not making him part of its own decisions, at least at the beginning, which is where all this kind of talking behind Will's back was more present. And I don't know, I don't feel like the author did a very good job in the sense that it worked in that kind of cliches, and it didn't, I don't know, it didn't work for me. I understand that you may like it, and I respect that. But if you want to leave any comments down below, remember that this is just my humble opinion, so be polite if you want to give your opinions. Goodbye. And of course, you know you can follow me on Twitter, Goodreads, Instagram, even Facebook. I have a Facebook page with the name of the channel. Bye.